As we get into the summer months, all we hear about is, I want a home with a pool, right? It's too hot in August. We want to hang out at home. We're not going on vacation this summer. And this is going to be our own private backyard oasis. So we get into all the details of, should I buy a home with a pool or should I build one later? Don't go anywhere.
Let's get started. I'm Andy Haven.
And I'm Holly Haven, and we are the Haven Home Team. Okay, guys, when we start talking about putting a pool in the backyard, right, all we can think about is luxury and how we're going to spend the summer back there. But there's a couple of things that needs to be mentioned for both buyers and sellers when putting in a pool, buying a home with a pool, deciding what your options are. So let's start with cost. What does this look like for the seller to put in a pool?
Yeah, so for the cost for a seller to put in a pool, this is kind of like buying a new car. You're putting in this brand new pool in the backyard. You're going to reap the benefits of this brand new pool, but you're also going to be the one taking the financial hit of this pool. So like buying a car, when you buy a pre-owned car, the previous owner already took the hit on that car. So that's the same thing with buying a pool. If you are financially invested and want this pool so badly and you want the dream pool, right, it might be worth it to you. Yeah, the price might be worth it. But if you're a buyer and you don't want to put in a pool later, it might be financially better for you to go ahead and just buy the pre-owned home with a pool.
Yes. And there's a couple of things that go into that. People, if you have not priced a pool in the last 2 years, you should definitely go do that again. Costs have gone up significantly. Just the labor and the materials needed, the process, everything is a bit more expensive now. So a really, really basic pool with no hot tub, doesn't heat, is over $100,000 on every quote I've seen in the last 2 years. And most of us want that amazing, overflow, like the infinity edge, or you want the waterfalls, or you want the hot tub, or you want the built-in bar seating, or right, there's all these things that go into it. So upgrading your backyard can definitely change your lifestyle, right? It makes the entertainment value of your house definitely go through the roof. But she's right, you're not going to get that money back. You're going to get a portion of it. The home might be more desirable by buyers. Yeah, we're going to get a lot more showings. Our value is going to be slightly higher than a comparable home without a pool, but we're not getting all that money back. So from the buying standpoint, what is my disadvantage to buying a home with a pool already in place?
Yeah, so the disadvantage of that is going to be the upkeep cost of a pool and just the everyday normal maintenance. So although that may not be a financial cost, that is a time cost. That is something that you're going to have to invest time in to keep up with. So I feel like that is the biggest disadvantage of buying a home with a pre-existing pool.
Yes, and the unknown maintenance history. Yeah. So sometimes we don't know what has been done to a pool. We get like having a leak under the pool or in the hot tub area. Those are not uncommon. Cracking in the plaster, not ideal, but not necessarily uncommon because we do have a lot of movement in our ground here. So there's some things that are going to come into that for the buyer buying a home with a pre-existing pool. If the home is, quite a bit older and the pool is quite a bit older, we highly recommend a pool inspection that is specific to the pool when you're under contract in that option period. Not just the home inspection, but paying a specific pool inspector to come out and run some tests and make sure that the pool equipment is functioning properly, there's no leaks in the pool, and that you're really getting a good quality product.
Yeah, for sure. And then I feel like the pros of buying a home with a pool is going to be the fact that you don't have to build it. You don't have to bring that cash to a home builder and be like, please build me a pool with no hot tub for $100,000, right? So that's going to be my biggest pro there.
Yeah, definitely being able to just have it already done. A pool can take 3 to 6 months, depending on the time of year and what else they're doing. It's a pretty significant process. If you have dogs and kids, your gate is down for almost that entire time. Your yard is muddy, so it disrupts your life as well. So there is definitely some cons, but then you have the pros of I move in, the pool is there, we get to just start swimming on day one.
Yeah, for sure. So going on to the seller's cons. So what would be a con of selling a home with a pool?
Really, the only big con, in my opinion, is if there's something found in the inspection that's going to be costly. So replacing big pool filters or heating systems. We have a lot of pools now with chillers, and those are an expensive system to replace or repair. Yeah. So anything like that could come up. And then obviously knowing, how much money you put into the pool and you may not be getting it back. The benefit that we've seen over the last couple of years is if somebody owned a home, prior to 2020, and then they put in a pool anytime during that, the value of the property itself has started to cover those pool costs.
Yeah.
And so people felt like for the last 2 years, oh, I'm getting all of my money back for the pool. Moving forward, guys, that is not something we should expect or anticipate. That was a market situation that created that quick equity gain. And what it did was it absorbed the pool cost for a lot of people.
Yeah, so you were never actually getting that pool cost back. Your home was actually appreciating at a very, very high rate.
Exactly. So don't plan that for the future. Don't think, hey, I saw this happen over the last 2 years. If I put a pool in, I'm definitely going to be able to raise my house price by $150,000. It just doesn't work that way because an appraiser will never give you that money for the pool. They will comp it appropriately and they will use the pool. I've seen maybe $25,000 to $35,000 depending on the level of that backyard build out. Guys, I'm going to caveat here, put a little kind of side note. Those outdoor living areas, built-in grills and kitchens and, really nice covered spaces, you do get almost every penny out of those. Yeah. So those are safe. It's the pool itself that we're not getting that value back from an appraiser. Okay, as a homeowner with a new pool, there are definitely some safety concerns that you need to be aware of. So what do we do? Kind of what's our norm here in Texas for the safety? We had a pool for a long time. You guys are older, but.
So a lot of things that a lot of people moving from out of states don't understand is we do not cover our pools here. That is actually a huge safety concern to cover your pool because we don't have freezes here that cause our pools to have issues in that way.
Well, we had one.
We did. We've had one instance in the last 100 years, but we don't cover pools because that is a huge safety concern for people and children falling into your
animals.
Pool and getting stuck underneath that cover. So that's something we don't do here in Texas. But a big thing that does help with safety is we do fence a lot of our pools. A lot of people will have safety fences with the little pool tab so that you can open it and children can't open it. Yeah, kid-proof. Another thing that a lot of people never consider is that iron fencing around a pool can actually become a problem. So depending on the type of pool that you have, if you have a saltwater pool, it can actually deteriorate metal fencing. So whenever you think about a safety concern and you're like, well, I'm going to metal fence my whole entire pool, make sure you consider that as well.
Yes. The other thing for safety, when you're putting a pool in brand new here in Texas, the city actually has some codes.
Yeah.
So there's alarms on doors so that if the door is opened, it has an automatic chime. You have to think about this. Even if you don't have small children, consider the fact that you may have friends with small children. You may have neighbors with small children, and really having all of those things in place they're better. Maybe it's a slight annoyance to you every time you open the door, or that, that gate latch is really kind of a hassle. But guys, it's really best in the long run because the one thing that everybody wants to avoid is any kind of drowning incident, whether, like I said, it's a child or it can be an adult, it can be an animal. So having all of those pool safety items in place. Your fenced yard should have the latching gates as well. But then if you do a pool fence specifically to kind of separate it from other parts of the yard, those things are going to come into play. If you have an older home, you're buying an older home with a pool, some of those features will not be in place. And I think it's something that homeowners really just need to be aware of. And it's not super expensive to update those details at home to make sure that everything is safe and you can actually enjoy that new backyard oasis.
For sure.
So, guys, to wrap this up, we want to know, number one, would you ever own a house with a pool? And number two, would you prefer to buy it already in or put it in yourself so that you can customize it and have all the amazing backyard features that you're looking for?
Yeah, and if you have an opinion on what you'd like to do, go ahead and drop that below. Look at our social medias. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you have any questions, we'll see you in the next video.
All right, guys, like and subscribe. Let's chat soon.